Well, I got some notes this time. Sometimes I'll stay on it, sometimes I won't. But I think this is timely because I believe that each and every person in here is in a season to where they have to rely on prayer. There's nothing else. Oh, I know. We all have friends, right, that we can rely on. All right, y'all going to help me this morning. I'll make every one of you come to the front 2 rows. I'll make you hold hands all the way through service. I like a participatory people. Just means you're with me. You're not thinking about the chicken that you left in the oven or the barbecue that you left on the grill. You're thinking about, what is it that God can give me today? What food can I eat at the altars today that I can go home and that I can rest assured that it will get me through tomorrow and through next week. And it may not even be that soon. It may be something you'll get 2 months from now. But I think this is a moment that we all need to set our face on Him. He's the only way out. It's the only thing we have. See, how many of you know that God's got this way about Him that He'll put you in a situation or a circumstance where there is nothing else you can do but rely on Him? Anybody else been there? I just want to make sure I got the right people, because I think this word's for you this morning. If you got your Bibles, let's go to Jonah. We'll have a little Sunday school. And I don't want you to read through these scriptures with me with familiarity. How many of you know that familiarity is not your friend? And a lot of the times familiarity will cause you to miss something. See, I had one husband say, that's right. See, us men, we become so familiar with our wives, we forget what jewel we have. See, I still ain't got but one husband saying that's right. The rest of y'all going to be in trouble after this, because I'm going to just go ahead and set you up. I'm going to get you in trouble. But I don't want you to read this with a heart of familiarity. I want you to open your heart up this morning. I want you to open your mind up this morning and receive what the Spirit would say. And I just pray that God give you revelation this morning, that something that will be life-changing. How many of you know that revelation without application isn't going to do you any good? I mean, it's nice to hear somebody speaking. Man, they told me something I ain't hear. But if you don't apply it to your life, it don't do you a near bit of good. Jonah, you ready? Let's start at Jonah chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 17, and we'll try to go through chapter 10, and I don't know if I'll stop on the way through or if we'll wait till we get to the end. But verse 17, you got it? I know you got it because Tommy got it. Good job, Tommy. All right. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow Jonah. Well, that's already a promising word, isn't it? How many of you see? God's already prepared something to swallow you. Well, that's just joyful, isn't it? That make you want to get up and dance right there, because He has prepared something to swallow me. Lord help me. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Let me give you a little backdrop. God's called Jonah to go and bring revival to Nineveh. Jonah found a way out, so he assumed. Like many of us, we will take a different course. We will walk a different path. We think that we've got this thing licked and everything's good. And then out jumped the rabbit. And here comes God with this fish. But Jonah decided to get on a boat, and he wanted to go to Tarshish. And on the way there, God sent a storm. In the storm, these people decide, hey, brother, you got to go. We tossing you over. He gets tossed, and he hits the big, deep blue. And this is where we're at. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord, chapter 2, verse 1. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the fish's belly. And he said, I cried out to the Lord because of my afflictions. Some of you need to be afflicted before you'll call on the name of the Lord. That's all right. That's all right. And he answered me. Even though we bring it on ourselves. Even though we can't focus for 15 minutes to fulfill a purpose in our life for God. And we decide we want to run off somewhere else and do something else. Get out of the way. If we'll just pray, He'll hear our voice. And He'll answer. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried. I want to stay right there for a couple minutes, but it's right in the midst of when hell is breaking loose in your life. See, that's when you're not worried about what somebody says about you or how you're praying. You don't care about your vocabulary. You don't care about your English etiquette. You just screaming with all you have. You're at the top of your lungs. You're on your face. It's snotting and tears. It's everything. That's when it really comes from the heart. And God knows, hey, now I've got your attention. Now I've got your attention. See, we're worried too much about coming to church looking pretty. And you heard my voice. And you heard my voice. For you cast, for you, that was a big U. Well, yeah, it's a big U up there. I thought all that was caps. For you cast me into the deep. God done this. That's what He said. You cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas. And the floods surrounded me. God, man, it's when life just... And your billows and your waves, they passed over me. You cast me into the deep. Then I said, I've been cast out of your sight. If anybody ever felt like that? And you're like that, you just think that God is just, man, you just discarded me. God, where you at? Your waves, they passed over me. Hello, I'm right here. Then I said, I've been cast out of your sight. If anybody ever felt like that? And you're like that, you just think that God is just, man, you just discarded me. God, where you at? I will look again. Hello, I'm right here. I've been cast out of your sight. If anybody ever felt like that? The water surrounded me. You just think that God is just, man, you just discarded me. God, where you at? And I couldn't get past that scripture yesterday. Hello, I'm right here. I've been cast out of your sight. The water surrounded me. The water surrounded me. What is your soul? Your mind, your will, and your emotions. See, it's when God can remove all the selfish, all the self-centeredness, your mind, your will, your emotions. When He can get past all of that. When He can talk to you for a moment and you'll listen instead of debate because you say, well, God, I don't think, and God, I don't feel. See, it's when He can get past all that. He needs to surround that up sometimes. And when He can get to that point, He can begin to speak to you. And you begin to open up. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Man, I think that's music to His ears. When He says your name and you say, yes, Lord. I think that excites God. I think it might shift Him in His seat a little bit. Because He knows now I've got a willing vessel. I got somebody, all I can do right now is just say go and He gone. See, y'all don't get too excited about that because y'all know how God works. A lot of you really think that, well, if God sends me, I don't know where I'm going to go, and I'm nervous and I'm scared. See, that's why y'all won't say, yes, Lord. Can I encourage you one time, just one time in your life, would you trust God enough to get in your little closet, I don't care where it's at, and just say, yes, Lord? You would be surprised of the things that he has in store. Where he wants to send you, what he wants to do, what kind of blessings he wants to give you. The deep closed around me. See, I've been there. Man, that's depression. I've sat right in the heart of it. The deep closed around me. It's not fun. See, you give up, you throw in the towel. You just, I quit. I'm done. I've sat right in the heart. Do you know that you can be depressed and be a Christian? The deep. Come on, see, y'all think too many of you walk in depression and you don't even know it. Fun. Oh, you saved. Throw in the towel. But you're not enjoying half of what God intends for you to enjoy. You've allowed the enemy to come in and just trick you and say, this is it. You can't go any further. You're not going to have the strength to maintain. Oh, he just closes the door on you. There's no chance. After 110 or 111, I don't forgot the exact number, 110 or 111 applications being sent out for a job, sitting in the dark rooms with a blank laptop with the shades pulled. Oh, and a Christian. Ready to quit. Ready to say, God, you can't do this. That's what we're saying. You may not verbalize that, but that is what your heart is screaming. God, you can't handle what I'm in. I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to look at the one that created all heaven and all earth and tell him that he can't handle it. It's like looking at your own parents and saying no. Well, I don't know about today's day, but weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the mooring of the mountain. He's talking about going to the foundations of the mountain, going to the bases of the mountains. See what y'all see? You think those are the mountains? Man, those mountains are much more vast than what you can see. Weeds were wrapped around my head. They go down just as far as they going up. I went down to the mooring of the mountain. He's talking about going to the foundations of the mountain, going to the bases. Listen. Jonah was done. See what y'all see? You think those are the mountains? Man, those mountains are much more vast than what you can see. The earth with its bars closed behind me for everything that I've worked for, everything that I thought I was going to have. It just shut right behind me and left me. Listen, Jonah was done. See what y'all see? You think those are the mountains? Man, those mountains are much more vast than what you can see. The earth with its bars closed behind me. Ready? Everything that I've worked for, everything that I thought I was going to have. Listen, it says yet right behind me and left me. Listen, Jonah was done. This is like one of them but guys. Those are the mountains. Man, those mountains are much more vast than what you can see. The earth with its bars closed behind me. Ready? Everything that I've worked for, everything that I thought I was going to have. Listen, it says yet right behind me and left me. Jonah was done. This is like one of them but guys. Oh Lord, yet you, my God. The earth with its bars closed behind me. Ready? When my soul fainted within me, when I was done and I'd given up, it says yet. I remembered the Lord. This is like one of them but guys. And my prayer went up to you, oh Lord, into your holy temple. My God. Those who regard worthless idols. When my soul fainted within me, when I was done and I'd given up, it says yet. I remembered the Lord. You make no way. And my prayer went up to you into your holy temple. But those who will sacrifice with the voice of thanksgiving. He's not out. He's still in it. You make no way. But he can still find a cistern, a dried up cistern. He can reach deep down in the crack and find just a moment of hope. And say, I will sacrifice to you with the voice of thanksgiving. He's not out. He's still in it. See, he sees something here that we don't see. You go see it before the end. I'm going to take you to Sunday cistern. He can reach deep down in the crack and find just a moment of hope. And say, I will sacrifice to you with the voice what I have vowed. He's not out. He's still in it. See, he sees something. Anybody in here bowed anything to God? You go see it before the end. I'm going to. Come on, let me check you. Let me check you. All right. We're going to have to make. See, this is the thing I don't like about preaching, because sometimes you really have to get people back to where they once were to let them know that they ain't always been where they are. Are you with me? Do I need to go a little further? You know when you used to turn up the bottle real hard, and when you got home, it was like a porcelain god. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? Huh? God, if you just get me out of this, I'll never take another drink. Nobody? Come on, no takers. I mean, leave me standing by myself. It's okay. I done been there. God, if you'll just take me out of this just this one time, just so I can feel that I'm human again, I'll never. Oh, boy, how quick we are to make vows and then not carry it out. I don't pray to porcelain God anymore, just so you know. I realized real quick that just wasn't the life for me. But I will pay what I have vowed. Let me tighten up a shoestring. When you took a moment in your life and you said, God, I need you. I'm a sinner. I can't make it without you. When you done that, you vowed I know. He done brought up the Bible. You vowed. You accepted what it was going to take to maintain a Christ-like attitude, a Christ-like heart, a Christ-like mind, a Christ-like walk. You with me? Are you hearing me? So everything in this word, when you said, God, I'm yours, I surrender, you vowed. Just in case you forgot your vow. Just in case you forgot it. Go home and read this. You're going to find in here where it says, if you do, then I will. If you will, then I'll do. See, I know it ain't all about works. I get you. I'm with you. But you show me a man with faith without works. See, we got it confused. You have some gospel that tells you've got to dress a certain way, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that, and no, you ain't got to do any of it. See, here's the difference. Here's the difference with serving a master that you love and serving a master that has dominion over you. The master that you love, you will do out of the love that you have for them. Not because they told you to. You know what? If you really love your spouse, there's going to be times that you're going to do things that your spouse didn't even ask, but you just done it anyway. You vowed it. So out of the love that you have for God, own up to it. Do your thing. Do different. Salvation is of the Lord. Now, I've done pretty good. I got through most of that, and I didn't even preach a good sermon. How many of you found yourself in a place in life to where it seems like everything around you is just caving? You find yourself in life where you feel like there's no hope. You find yourself in life where, man, the weight I can't carry anymore. I think all of us at one time in our life have walked in that season. I think we've experienced it somewhere. Thankfully, grace has brought most of us through. Grace is still bringing some of us through. And grace will bring the rest of us through. But how many of you know that we serve a God that sometimes He will put the weight of this world on your shoulders? How many of you know that we serve a God that will sometimes cause you to be in unfavorable circumstances? See, we serve a God that sometimes will find a way to cause us to walk into situations that begin to start squeezing around us and start making us a little uncomfortable. He doesn't always just look down from heaven off of the throne and smile on you and say, my blessed child. There's sometimes that He looks down from the throne and says, you're a hard-headed, stiff-neck, and I need to straighten you up. Sometimes He will put you in a circumstance or a situation to cause you to get back on track. He'll use it to correct you. He'll use it to bring you closer to Him. But see, we've gotten Him all confused. Man, we think that God is just all about just loving us. And our definition of love is ain't nothing gonna happen. We get to walk in the garden, smell roses and whatever else if you don't have allergies. Whatever your definition of love, wherever it is that you define love in your life, that's what you think that God is all about. That's where the dangerous part has come in this world. There's been so many people that will talk about their God, and they're not even talking about the God. Oh, they're talking about a God, their God, the one that makes them feel happy, the one that makes them feel good. Let me give you a clue. God ain't in it about your feelings. God is in it about your soul. And if that means He's got to make you uncomfortable today to fix you for what lays ahead for tomorrow, He's going to do it. But we forgot that. See, Jonah wasn't too sure about this either. See, many of you just look. I don't want y'all to look down on Jonah, because the truth be known, your middle name's Jonah. How many of you walked into a circumstance you never prayed for? Come on, and you just say, oh man, that just go right on into that one. And it leads you to trouble every time. It puts you in a situation that you can't control now. And then you sit back, you start scratching your head, not knowing what in the world have I done. Some of you are sitting there right now. You caused it. You done it to yourself. You didn't season your next step with prayer. You just stepped. Some of us, we get crazy. We'll jump. We jump. You ain't never heard that phrase, jump at the next opportunity? Jump at that opportunity. You better be careful. The Bible says don't be so hasty. Take your time. You're going to learn when you got to make a decision right now, boy, you better back up and hit the brakes. Last time I checked, God said that he would restore the time. It ain't going to hurt you to take time to pray. Trust me. It's not going to hurt you because they offered you the job yesterday. You don't have to accept it today. You ought to pray and find out, God, is this your will? Oh, but it looks so good. And you never give a thought about praying. How many of you know distractions sometimes look good? Some distractions are favorable sometimes. And then it's round the mountain again. Because God's got to scoot up on the edge and look down and go, boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's what happened with Jonah. See, God gave Jonah an assignment, and Jonah took it upon himself in the midst of all of this to make a decision. Because, listen, when he told Jonah to go, Jonah just jumped on the ship and went the other way. Nope, gone. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Verse 1, chapter 2. First word. Help me. Now, then. There's all kinds of translations. But it means I didn't do it before then. It means now I've done it. Now, after I've been swallowed up, after I've had to go through what I've gone through, after I've had to sit in it for a while, then I decided to pray. See, we use prayer for a safety net. Prayer is for the plan, baby. It ain't for the safety. It ain't for the covering. It's for the plan. If you can get God's plan for your next step, you don't have to worry about being in safety. He got you. Steps of a righteous man are ordered by the... He's got you. Be okay. Be all right. But he said then. That's when he decided to pray. Was then, after everything is over. And some of you have been sitting here just going, man, I don't know when this storm's going to be over. When is all this going to go away? When will this just subside in my life? Aren't you glad that God knows? Aren't you glad that you can find in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, that he won't always put all of that stuff on you without making a way? He's basically saying that, look, there's going to be trials, there's going to be temptations. You're going to walk up into all kinds of this stuff, but I'm not going to allow any of it to overtake you. You're not facing anything that somebody else hasn't already faced. And when you get inside of it, I'll make a way out for you, but you're just going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to stay with me. See, if you don't know what God is getting ready to do next in your life, if you don't have the plan for tomorrow, you better sit where you are today. God will tell you every step, one way or another. But you got to be willing to hang in there, just stay close. I know it's unfavorable. I know it don't feel good. I know it ain't right. But God knows something that you don't know. You've got to trust him. You got to stop trying to do this on your... You're not going to make it by yourself. You're going to fall. See, we got to trust that God knows. God knows when he needs to put an end to the situation. He knows when to pull you out of it. He knows what he's doing. Stop making God moves by yourself. Make sure He's with you. Make sure He's there. Make sure He's got your back. Well, how many of us truly believe that? I mean, we've got to set our face one time or another in our life. We're going to have to set our face and trust that God's got you. I want to go over 3 points in life. We got time. You'll be out before 2. I want to go over 3 points in life that God recognizes when it's time for you to come out. Not when you think it's time to come out. Aren't you glad that you serve a God that knows when it's time to pull you out? The first thing that God will find in you is that He's got you in a posture of prayer. That's what He done to Jonah. That's what He done to Jonah. We need to read it again. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the fish's belly, and he said, I cried out to the Lord because of my afflictions, and He answered me. See, what I like before all this happened, God went ahead and situated a fish. He didn't give him a life raft. He gave him a fish. Isn't God kind? He's so kind. But this is where we ended up. We've done our own thing. We went our own way because we didn't like, we didn't see, and we didn't feel. How many of you know? Man, I'm going to tell you, the hardest thing in this world to fight, it ain't the enemy. It's yourself. The enemy's been defeated. The enemy's been defeated. Because this is what Jesus told His disciples. He didn't say, you fight until I return. What did He say? Come on, Bible scholars. He said it was finished, but what was Jesus' instructions? What did He tell us to do until He came back? We had to go and make disciples, but we had to occupy. See, come on, think about it. When you go and occupy, you're not fighting. You're occupying. You're establishing. You're occupying. That's what we're doing now, ain't it, in Iraq? That's all we've been doing over there now for several years has been occupying. We're not at war, we're occupying. That's what God has told us to do. See, God's already fought the war. God's already defeated the enemy. When He said it's finished, that's exactly what He meant. It's over. Now you just occupy until I come. You do. You put in place. You take care of. You bring kingdom principles and spread it throughout the world. You occupy. It's in the midst of our praying that our life will change. Now, this is where I'm going to go to Sunday school and help you. When we get into verse 17, and we're talking about the belly of the fish, And then you jump into chapter 2 and you look at verse 1 and it says the fish's belly. There's many different languages out there, and in these languages it comes with a gender to a word other than the English language. You do Hebrew and whatnot. There's other languages out there too. But you've got a feminine, right? You've got a masculine, you've got a neuter, right? And all three of those, you can use the same word in the difference of the attachment, whether it's masculine, feminine, or neuter, and it means differently. Okay? A lot of scholars debate this and fight this. Number one, they don't think any man can survive in a fish. Okay? A lot of people have leaned over just to call it a whale now because that makes more sense. The Bible didn't say whale, the Bible said fish. But they'll fight this because of this right here. A lot of them will take their stance right here because they're looking at the belly of the fish. In verse 17, fish is used in a masculine sense. Verse 1 of chapter 2 takes it and uses it in a feminine sense. Well, surely, if that's how it was written, then the author made a mistake, so this is not even. But what they don't understand is when you're in the midst of your prayer, things change. Hang on. If we use the masculine sense of fish, and we're talking about the belly of the fish. This is the digestive system. This is what will actually begin to break you down and digest you. This is the digestive tract. It will begin to just break you down and just cause you to just be dispersed. Okay? But when we turn it to the feminine, dog and daga. Dog is the masculine. Daga is the feminine. When we turn it to the feminine side, now it goes from the digestive system to the reproductive system. You got to hang on, because when you're praying, when you're praying, God begins to pull you out of what is supposed to kill you, and he begins to put you in a place, that same place that we would call, oh, that's going to kill us. It brings you to a place where it begins to birth you. It begins to come inside of you and nurture you. It begins to deliver you. But you've got to be able to understand and recognize the shifting in your life. But until you get into prayer, until you get into that circumstance, you'll never understand it, nor will you ever be able to experience it. My God, that thing that was supposed to kill you done nothing but kept you. Oh, see, now you're looking at the fish differently. Huh? Come on, we got to read a little bit. What was his prayer? Jesus, help me. You cast me into the deep, into the hearts of the seas, and the floods surrounded me. I'm on verse 3. And the floods surrounded me, and your billows and your waves, they passed over me. Then I said, I have been cast out of your sight, yet I will look up again toward your holy temple. The waters surrounded me, even to my soul. The deep closed around me. Weeds were wrapped around my head. I went to the mooring of the mountains, the earth with its bars closed behind me forever. They threw him off the ship. He hit the water. He began to go down. He was drowning. It was the sea that was going to bring him to his death. But God beforehand, he had created a fish that was to come along. It was the thing that we think is killing us is the exact same thing that's saving us. It's what's keeping us. He had created a fish. You've got to get a different perspective in your life. And the only way that you're going to get it is through prayer. that's saving us. It's what is it that God wants you to do? Where is it that God's calling you? How many of you are going to turn your back on the wooing of the Holy Spirit? You're going to get it. Same thing that's saving us. It's what is it that God wants you to do? My God, get into prayer. How many of you are going to turn your back on the wooing of the Holy Spirit? You're going to get it. Same thing that's saving us. I don't think I can preach that point anymore. My God, get into prayer. How many of you are going to turn your back on the wooing of the Holy Spirit? He said, but I will sacrifice to you with the voice of thanksgiving. I don't think I can now this part right here, look, if this ain't for you, just whatever. He said, but I will sacrifice. See, a lot of it, man, a lot of us, we need it in the voice of thanksgiving. To give thanks. Now this part right here, look, a lot of us need to be sitting right in the middle of the prosperity and the health and the wholeness. We need to be sitting right in the midst of just pure blessings from heaven. We need to be positioned right up underneath that gigantic window in the sky, and God is just raining abundance on our life in order for us to give thanks. But this part's not for you. This part's for the ones that still standing in the midst of their trial, standing in the midst of their trouble, standing in the midst of their persecution, and still able to find some way inside to give thanks to God. See, Jonah seen it. He said, my God, thank you for sending the fish. If he wouldn't have sent a fish, I would have drowned. Oh. God, thank you for not sending me that guy, that girl. Woo. See, if you'd have sent the other one, it would have been, God, thank you for not giving me that promotion, because all the things that we view that we think is going to kill us is the very safety net that God has pre-designed to protect us. Oh, it don't feel like it. I know. It don't look, I get it. But God's got a plan. The last time I checked, He's a God of restoration. He's a God of restoring. No matter how ugly it gets, no matter how bad it is, we've got to find it in ourselves to be thankful. 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 The heart of thanksgiving. When's the last time you were thankful? Oh, not in the blessing. In the midst of the storm. There's just one more thing. I'll be done. Some of you try to go to sleep on me if I don't get you out of here before lunchtime. Then Jonah says, I will do what I vowed. See, I love it how God works in threes. He works in threes. I don't even know if God can count 1, 2. I think He just goes straight to 3. I say, here's 3. We're going to do 3. I like 3. I like the number 3. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the inner court, the outer court, the Holy of Holies. Huh? Right? Death, the burial, the resurrection. I mean, He works in the threes. He loves the threes. Here's 3 again. He knows when it's time to pull you out. By your posture of prayer. By your gratitude, your heart of thanksgiving. And by doing what He asks you to do. What's God ask you to do? Oh, I know. Somebody just said that. I heard it. Because I used to say it sitting in a seat. I ain't qualified. Can't do it. You're right. You're not qualified. And you can't do it. The good news is He can through you. Are you willing to do what God's asked you to do? Well, Pastor, I got the first two completed, man. We good. Washing my hands, put my shoes on. We getting ready to come out of this thing. Just still not sure if I want to do what I thought he said, but that ain't God. That's got to be Satan. We don't want to do what God's saying. Guys, listen, please hear my heart. It is hard to do what God asks you to do. Because He's got to put you in situations to where only He can get glory out of it. We're not to glory in men, right? Or the strength of the horses. We're just to glory in Him. The only way that you're able to do that is do what He's asked you to do. There's no other way. There's no other way. You can't, I can't pay you to go do it for me. It's not going to work. See? See how that works? See how that don't work? Because He probably would do it even if I paid Him. There was one other thing that caught my attention. And I'm closing right here. So the Lord spoke to the fish. And it vomited. So the Lord spoke to the fish on the dry land. And it vomited. Why such a graphic word? Couldn't God have put something a little more pleasing? I mean, I know there's like on the dry land a bunch of adjectives out there to take place of that. And it vomited. Why such a graphic word? I think there's something there that we need to understand. I mean, I know there's... Because Jonah was only a day's journey from Nineveh at this point. Now, you just been sitting in a belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Now, I'm just saying, now this is just my imagination, okay? You think of it how you want to think. I'm just thinking. I think you're probably funky. I think there's a little stink. I think you're a little nasty. I think everybody that walked by you would know exactly where you've been. And they probably don't want to be around you. Now pay attention. Deliverance is not always a clean process. Deliverance gets ugly. Deliverance will smell bad. See, deliverance ain't like you had it in your mind. If I said something about deliverance, that if you come to the altar and God said that this morning is your morning of deliverance, this is what I would think that you would picture. That you would be walking up in your white gown and you would stand and the pastor would lightly lay his hand on your head and you would be lightly and gently just laid out and God would just deliver you.